All right, welcome back to Omni Garage After Hours. So on this podcast, I've got a good guest on board here. We've got Reggy Cox from Labo Cosmetica. So welcome and thank you for joining me tonight.
Hey, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Happy to be here, and it's interesting where we are. You are in New Zealand, in the
I
in the in the,
am.
in, in the
Yep.
early edges of the morning, and I'm here in Switzerland, in the top of the mountains, in a loft, scorching hot, doing a podcast in New Zealand. I mean, it's freaking amazing.
Thank you for the commitment. I'm just going to zoom out on the camera. Look where Reggy is sitting right now. It's quite funny.
So okay, a little bit of context where I am. So I am 1 meters and 85 centimeters, 58, yeah, 85, yeah, 185. So I'm sitting down on a chair. And as you can see, I can touch the roof and I can touch the beam of the roof. I'm in the top of the loft of a chalet that is normally being used for winter sports. But we are now live in Andermatt, Switzerland. This is the club meeting of the Supercar Owner Circle Classic Edition. So we have some young timers and some classics. We do some light cleaning on those cars with some Labo Cosmetica products, making some videos, some reels. We just posted one reel online just to give a little bit of what we are doing here, and we're spending here the next 3 days. And I got invited to do this podcast with Mr. Omni Garage here, so I'm very excited. This is going to be a great couple of days. Tomorrow we have what we call in the morning we finish the car, so they go on a drive and they close down the mountain pass. So you have to imagine we got two Ferrari F40s driving, one F50, one Porsche Carrera GT, and they are just blasting through the mountains because they close down the road. So they close
Far, that's
especially
pretty
for this
cool.
club. Yeah, that's pretty freaking amazing. So tomorrow I have
Yeah.
to go. Today I
Special
said,
access like that.
yeah, and I said today I got something important. Got a podcast with New Zealand, so you guys go and then get your dinner. I will stay here and I will fix everything, make sure the connection is right, so that we can have a good conversation with the technology at hand.
Nice. So thank you for doing that because I can imagine I messaged you over Instagram and you must have been like, who's this crazy boy messaging me? I don't know who
Nah,
he
I've been
is.
following you for a while, guys. You know,
Ah, right.
I watched. I have to say I watch almost everything, and I watch it now just to save some time. I watch everything in speed too, so in the
Yep.
double speed, so then I can accumulate the information a little bit faster. And it's just about the information, what's going on, who's talking about who, what kind of a products are coming, which kind of a direction. And for me, that is it's interesting because normally I travel to places and I see the people face to face, so I can get to experience their local culture.
Mm,
So 25
right.
to 27 countries I already visited. The only continent I have not visited so far is South America. For the rest, I've been Africa, Asia, Middle East, Australia this year for the first time. Absolutely fantastic country. So New Zealand is around the corner. If you're already there, might as well take an extra flight and go to New Zealand because you're already down under.
It's
So
only
why
a
not?
few hours. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So and when this yeah, this is great for me. This is really great.
And so tell me what a day is like with you because you've just told us you're in Switzerland and you're traveling around with a car team. So do you do you go from like show to show and your expectation is to clean cars and have stands and showcase products, or are you doing product education? So what does the day look like for you?
It's so if you look at the complete job description, the main part is to provide the information for the videos, the official Labo Cosmetica videos. To
Yeah.
train is my main job, so that's why I go places because I physically go there. I don't do online seminars. I physically go there to do show the products, to teach the people how they work and what's inside the bottle. So I go more technical stuff I cannot do online that I can do live, so I can adapt to local culture. That's my main job. Then on the side, I provide some other educational content, and most of the time, I'm doing the testing of products and product development, and that also counts for benchmark testing. So testing other products to see what they can do, and finding their weaknesses, so we can turn them then into our strengths when we
Yeah.
provide a new product. So a lot of testing. I mean, I think by definition, I polish a lot of hoods per year just to finish them up to put some new either ceramic or to test something or polish, or it's absolutely insane.
This sounds like a pretty broad job description. I mean, you can just basically do whatever you like.
Yes,
Test products, cruise
but
around. Yeah.
it is so the traveling is fantastic to go actually go to places and to see the people and they see the happiness when you yeah
Yeah.
it's literally a sort of joy when they see certain things they wouldn't expect to ever see. So unclogging a ceramic coating, and when they see it live for the first time with no cheating, no nothing, you see it real time, then their minds are blown. They go like, "What is this? How is this happening?" And then they
Yeah,
start to
yeah.
become confident. So for me, it's very important. It's not so much I teach, I also enter train, and I also train. So if you look at it, it would be like enter training. So I entertain and entertain and train in one thing, in
Yeah.
one day. And that's basically the main job. The traveling, testing the products, doing these kind of things. Just be sort of an outhanging sign of a beacon of hope in the world of detailing for Labo Cosmetica.
And are you based in Milan or where are you based?
So I am originally from the Netherlands. That's my
Yeah.
home base. I live in the east
Yeah.
part in a little place called Rekken. And my most of the time, if I'm not traveling, I'm either at home or I'm in Milan. And I use the
All
trip
right.
from Milan to my home. It's 966 kilometers to test endurance for products. So I'm doing
Okay, that
coating
makes sense because
testing.
yeah, because I was watching some of your videos and you're always driving and you're always saying I'm doing a long trip and this is going to be my product test drive, and I would imagine that from the Netherlands to Milan is pretty aggressive driving with road salts and bad weather and the
Yeah,
perfect conditions to put your products through the test. So that makes sense now. So you're driving from Netherlands and so what is it, 900 kilometers?
966 kilometers, so an average of a 10-hour drive.
Yeah.
I go from the north of Italy right into Switzerland, and then it's around 354 kilometers to the border of Switzerland and Germany, and then the last 600 kilometers, 650 kilometers is Germany autobahn. So you
Yeah.
imagine that I do not follow
Nice.
the speed limits, or I do
Yeah,
follow
yeah.
the speed limits, but when the speed limits go off, so I drive an average of 160, 170 kilometers an hour because those bug impacts over 200. Okay, there are parts where I drive 200 plus. If I see a
Yeah.
couple of bug splashes in the night coming, I think, okay, this is a bug area. Now I'm going to punch the gas. The car doesn't go faster than 205, so that's it. And but the bug impacts are slashing into the coating, and then after that, I'm not going to go. I have to be honest. I'm going to go for well maintained. So I'm
Yeah.
not washing very nicely with this coating. This type of a spray coating that we are developing. I'm saying developing, not coming.
Yeah.
Developing
Yeah.
to see with little maintenance and especially, but by reacting in time. So instead of waiting till the coating starts to fail to use Purifica, I immediately intervene when I see something. And I'm not talking about very light low dilutions, 1 to 400 in the bucket. How to see how effective is that when I intervene in a semi-failing coating. So if it slowly sees this micro diminishing of hydrophobics, then I immediately act with some Purifica and to see if that 1 to 400 is enough to do that. And if that is done without excessive movement, so with 1 or 2 passes with the mid, and then it's then cleared up, then it's absolutely perfect. But I don't
Right.
wait with the bugs. So when I see the bugs, when I drive home, right before I go home, I go to the self-wash unit. We have
Yeah.
fantastic facilities. I throw in 1 or 2 euros. I just put some foam from there, or I use the detergent from there. I let it react for a little bit. I rinse it off, and then most of the bugs are gone. And then in the next following days, I will do a contact wash to get the rest of the bug splatter off. But then at least the stuff that can burn into the paint, what also would burn into the paint, is now not going to burn into the coating, because once that is burned in, if you're lucky, you can blast it a little bit with a heat gun to see if the proteins cook out. But most of the time, when they etched into the coating, they are, yeah, you see them, and then the aesthetics go down, and then yeah,
Yeah, it's post
it's
after that, isn't it?
yeah, it's failing.
Yeah.
It's failing. It doesn't count anymore. Yes, it's beating, but it looks like SHIT.
Yeah, you end up with these burn rings of all this like bug
Yeah,
guts and everything, don't you?
same with water etching. And
Yeah.
I'm not. I have done so many things with water. I'm pretty confident into how far we can go with chemicals, especially in the Labo range, to get rid of water spots. But there is also the part where it becomes wishful thinking. I mean, if it's
Yeah.
been cooking in the sun for 10 days and there been done nothing, then you can take a microscope and you could literally see it dove a couple of microns into the paint.
Yeah. It's toast after that, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me bit about your background. How do you get to detailing? How do you start detailing cars?
I started. It was not so much the detailing; it was the result. My uncle had an El Camino, fantastic car, and it had chrome rims. And my uncle said, "I got these rims. There are little specks on it. This is a jar of what was then called Commandant, very aggressive manual paste with a lot of chemicals inside, very aggressive. To finish them, and then I would pay he would pay me 5 guilders per wheel. So in the beginning, I was only thinking about the money, but I was doing
Mm.
it with this stuff, and I made this dull chrome wheel blinking, yeah, shining like crazy again, and it knocked me off my feet. I was like, oh my god, did I just do that? And
Yeah,
that
yeah,
led slowly into washing cars at the most horrific way. If I tell you how we washed the cars back then, it would be how any household person would wash their car: a bucket, a sponge, some dishwashing soap, and maybe a garden hose, and a couple
yep,
of
yep.
old bath towels to dry the car, so that was how it started. But that is literally the only thing, except for the military, what has kept my interest since I was like 14. So this started in 14. I did a job right before I went into the military to actually clean the cars and become like a, back then we would call it car cleaning. It was not, detailing was non-existent in the Netherlands. It was just cleaning your car, polishing your car,
Mm. Yep.
basic words, no, nothing special. And I did that for 6 months, and shortly after I joined the military, where it just became a hobby. And I've been doing the military from 2001 to 2012. Then I left,
Yep.
worked in a car wash for 3 years, and in the meanwhile, just kept hobby detailing, and then started Chemical Guys 2016, and that led to the
Oh, so
first VA.
you worked for chemical guys, did you?
Yes, I actually worked for the European distributor also for about 6 months in the
Right.
Netherlands, and that literally started the first videos where I did an explanation or tried some sequences to use some Chemical Guys products to make them work and stuff like that. It
Yeah.
was actually the beginning. A couple of reviews of new machines, but if those videos are non-existent anymore, but if I look them back and I see how, even for me, how nervous I was, although I was not
Mm.
nervous, but all my body language says I was nervous. So
Yeah.
compared to what it
I
is now.
mean, the more and more you do these things, the more and more you get comfortable, and you sort of, you sort of put that to the side. But yeah, it's interesting to go back and have a look. Even some of our original stuff is cringe-worthy, isn't it?
Yeah, but I believe for some things, so I think even if video, and if this ever happens to me, or if this is already happening, I need people to tell me before I am. Say you looking at a video from 7 years ago, and
Yep.
and and 7 years ago, what I was saying 7 years ago might be revolutionary, but it could be that
Right.
revolutionary thing 7 years ago could be obsolete today. It could
Yeah.
be a thing that you said, "Oh my God, you guys did it like that back then." And if that
Mm.
video is still swirling around and you just get it popped up in your timeline and you get the time frame stuck, you might get a video that's not relevant anymore. So I
Yeah.
think if I look back, and luckily I don't have any videos except videos where I'm not using PPE, not using the correct PPE, and for
Yeah.
somebody in my position, that should be mandatory to always show the best example. No
Yeah.
shortcuts, no nothing. But they know that during trainings it's very difficult to do ceramic coating training with a mask on. So I keep
Mm.
the exposure to chemicals very low. I use the low light solvents. I don't make it too crazy. Well ventilated areas. Nobody
Yeah.
gets exposed too much. The gloves are always there. So, but looking at that, I think if the video stops being relevant, or if it becomes obsolete, or the information is simply wrong because we reinvented something, that we should take it down. And I'm
Yeah. Okay.
definitely to take that, especially when it comes from my side, I will definitely do that because it
Yeah.
needs to be important that the right information is out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Or
Especially from
let's
the
say
brand point of view. Yeah.
yes, and the current, let's say the current right information, because everything evolves. Even the 3pH
Mm.
has evolved in 5 years. It's totally different than we did it in the beginning. The video
Yeah.
with the original 3pH is still out there and it's still relevant. You can still do that, but we upgraded so much that you can shorten, more dilute the product, so go even less in dilution, use less product, and get the same result.
Yeah. And then how do you make the transition from chemical guys to Labo Cosmetica?
Oh, I stopped doing Chemical Guys, and after that, I joined. I know I was driving a truck. I was driving a truck again with my best friend, delivering pianos in Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. So like every day was work day with him was like a holiday. Imagining
And
doing all the jobs with your best friend every day, every
yeah,
single day. It's a
yeah.
freaking blast. I would never
It's a
miss
lot
that for
of
the world.
piano delivery. There's a
Yeah,
lot of
that's a lot of
pianos.
years. Yeah, and it's good because it's heavy lifting, because we lift the pianos on a cart and then we move them into the music stores where they sell them. But it's a
Yeah.
great job. And then somehow, and this is the crazy story, because then a friend of mine called me up and he said, "Listen, Reggie, I am in Milan right now at a factory called Mafra. I am testing some products, but to be honest, I cannot tell you if they're any good. Is there any chance that you can get into a plane and come here tomorrow and test these products together with the guy?" So I said, but what kind of company is it? Mafra. I said, Mafra. Why does that sound familiar? And I used to work in a car wash. So it's like, but these guys are car wash chemical producers, right?
Mm.
That's what I thought. So I go to Milan the next day. They pick me up from the airport. They introduce me to this charismatic, large, tall Italian man, and very passionate and very present and very. You already see what kind of guy is this? So we go outside, and then my friend says to me, "Listen, we want to do something with this, but if these products are really good, please do not show it, because if we have to negotiate after about pricing and you show all your enthusiasm, then there's going to be difficulty to get the price low." So I said, okay, well, I'll do my best, but it's very difficult for me to lie. Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
we do the testing, and this Italian man starts throwing around with these chemicals and blasting the car with air pressure, and my jaw already dropped for the first two products. I'm like, and then he starts explaining me what the products can do, and I'm like, but wait a second, if it's heavily alkaline, or if it's in the high alkaline range, then it should be dangerous, right? And then he shows me the testing and everything. I was like, oh my God, what is this? So we
Mm.
finished the testing. After the testing, the nice dressed Italian man had his shirt all over the place. His hair was wet. His shirt was wet. Had shirt out of his pants. It was like a war zone. So we go inside his office, and I look in this office, and this office was huge. And it was like, man, big screen TV, pictures everywhere, awards and stuff like that. I said, my God, this is a huge, huge office for a chemist. And he looks at me and said, I'm not the chemist. I'm the owner. I am my father's son. This my father founded this company. I'm the son. I said, what? The CEO did the freaking testing here? What is this place?
Mm.
What's going on?
Yeah,
What's going
right.
on? So he starts explaining to me what it's like and what the line is being built for, and how he wants to enter the industry, by reinventing stuff, to innovate stuff, and to bring new things to the detailing industry. So me and my friends were at that point where we were probably going to collaborate with each other, but they had a more financial perspective, and I had more mission perspective. So ex-military, I rather have a good mission than a large
Yeah.
bank account, because I can go into a mission and money simply does not motivate me.
Yeah.
A big bag of money does not make me, oh, then now you can make me jump, or what does this mean? No, I need a mission. I need something to go to somewhere.
And
So
that
I
goes
broke.
back to what you explained at the beginning about you liking the result, liking testing products and, the result
Yes,
rather than
yes, I like
anything
real.
else.
I
Yeah.
like I like if it's real, if it's really real, if everything is correct, and I'm looking at the manufacturer, and then I'm looking at the dealer. So the entire trajectory from the beginning. So let's say the chemical costs 10 cents to produce, and you are the manufacturer, but you sell it to your dealer for 50 bucks. So you multiply it 5,000%. The
Mm.
customer is very happy, but he does not know it costs very cheap to make, although it's a good
Yeah.
product. Then he goes
Yeah.
back to you, and then you have to sell it to the end user with your margin on top, and then it becomes
Mm.
exponentially. So somebody is ripping somebody off, and I like to have even shares along the way with the right ingredients, and everything is correct, and legislation is correct, and stuff like that. Because if I find out that I'm promoting a lie, then everything is over. My integrity
Yeah.
is gone. My passion is gone. If I speak untruthfully things, or over exaggerate expectations from a certain product, then I'm literally destroying my integrity also as a father. I mean, I'm trying to teach honesty and righteousness, and then you
Mm.
come with lying, cheating online. It's yeah. He's
Yeah.
gonna look at these videos and gonna look at me and say, "But you said to me we need to be honest." And yeah, who's this guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
So actually, I broke up with my friends. Not broke up with my friends, but we decided to go a different direction. And then at some point, I got this phone call from the Dutch importer Remco, and he says Marco is coming to the Netherlands and he wants to meet you. I said, okay, sure. He's a nice guy. Of course, I want to meet him. So I drive to the south of the Netherlands. Sorry, the west of the Netherlands, the southwest of the Netherlands is not the south. He will be very insulted if I compare him to that. But it's
Mhm.
the west of the Netherlands, and Marco was there, and we talked, and he said, "Listen, I would like you to try these products, and then if you have the time, we can spend a week in October where we record some videos, and then you can, explain a little bit about products." And I said, "Sure, why not?" So October 2018, I got into a plane, and I went to Milan for a week. My son was already 9 months old almost, and I did a week of video shooting. They taught me everything. I've been working with the products not secretly, but by myself without any knowledge, just reading
Mm.
instructions, doing the products.
Yeah.
So I figured a lot of stuff out without knowing all the technical stuff, just the most optimum way, what to do when it goes wrong, stuff like that. So I do these videos, and I had a blast. It was a fantastic week. I met the team. I went to dinner every night with different sections of the company, with accounting, with the export and stuff like that. It was very interesting and very enjoyable because they literally treated me like family, and that is was a very strange feeling in a commercial company where money needs to be made to keep everything alive. The family thing was overruling. The word money was never mentioned. We did not even discuss payment for the week that I was going to spend there. I was just thinking by myself, if they pay for the ticket and they pay for the hotel, I might as well experience Milan for a week. Why not? It's
Yeah.
experience, and I like these stuff. And then at the last day, Ian invited me into his office together with the vice president or the vice director, whatever you want to call it, and they offered me a job. They said, "We want you to become our a representative. We have seen you working here for a week. I wanted to see if you can work with my team. I wanted to see if you can work along with export, and I wanted to offer you a job to teach what you have been experiencing here with Labo Cosmetica, and then go around the world." Where I said I would love to do that, and I said for a year I'm definitely able to try it. For a year I can bind myself to something like this, but I got a young son. I have to address this with the mother if it's okay if we do the visitations every 2 weeks and we can fix that and
Mm.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And everything was okay, but he said you have to do this at least for 2 years. The world is a big place. We cannot send you everywhere in 1 year. You have to make a connection. You have to build a relationship with the customer. You might as have to do multiple visits in 1 year. So minimum of 2 years. So we managed to do at least minimum of 2 years before Corona started, or before the thingy started, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and and that's how it started. 1st January 2019, started officially, and I think I was 4 days later for my first Middle Eastern trip, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Qatar for my first 3 weeks on the road with a colleague, and that's when the first world tour kicked off.
Nice. So this is how you rack up 35 countries, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. I've been. My passport is now at the last 6 or 7 pages, or maybe even 10 pages. But I got a lot of. I even got
Yeah.
two trips to Russia when everything was still cool. I had two
Mm.
fantastic trips to Moscow, fantastic fairs, Japan, Vietnam,
Yeah.
Thailand, Singapore, all these places. India multiple times, United States, Korea has been a fixed thing since 6 years now. This is going to be the 6th year I'm going, and multiple visits most of the time, and yeah, Korea's like the highlight of the year for me. It's really
Yeah.
the cherry on the top. If we end the year with traveling, going to Korea, and then having one fun week, it's just fun week. We just do fun stuff.
Are you going to SEMA?
I don't know what the plan is. There is what we call hallway talk, that there is a possibility that they're part of
Hallway
the.
talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hallway talk. It's literally Dutch translated back to English, so it might
Yeah.
sound stupid, but no, there is a talk about maybe taking a Dutch delegation of the approved detailer organization in the Netherlands, the
Yeah.
professionals, B2B, everything's B2B, all professionals, to take a delegation of them, and I will then join them. I'm not going to, accompany them. Yes, that's what I'm
Yeah.
going to do, because I'm not going to play a tour guide, because SEMA is like, it's too big. I mean,
Yeah. It's crazy.
you need
Yeah.
a plan. You need at least to
Yeah.
have a goal about 3 places that you want to go to, that you finish first, and then see what else you are going to do, because you get distracted really fast. And I'm not talking
Mm.
about SEMA. I'm talking about Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This
Everything else with the whole
is
picture,
a
because
very
it's a,
distractive. You might forget that you went to SEMA when you walk on the strip. You go around. Oh my God, this is Ocean's 11. Oh my God, this is this movie. This is this. It's even
yeah.
bigger than on TV.
Yeah. Oh well, if you end up going, let us know, because Glenn and I from Omni Garage, we're going, so that'll be cool.
Yes, it's my God. It's been 2023 is the last time I went. It's also the first time that I went, but the last time that I went. We
Yeah.
we we saw see for SEMA, and then I'm looking at me as a car guy. SEMA was absolutely fantastic. There's no words to describe it. That's why it's called SEMA. It's SEMA. SEMA is by itself on its own, nothing comparable. It's not like any other fair, but
Yeah. Right.
for business, and we are looking for the B2B business. We are looking for the things. And if you are going to SEMA, you have to go multiple years to go inside of the detailing area. And we went in
Yeah. Yeah.
2018, and then we went back in 2023, and they said, but you have to start over in the newcomers hall.
Mm.
And when we said, what we went in
I've already
2019 and
been. Yeah.
18, and they
Yeah.
said, yes, but you have to start over here, and then next year, if you follow up, then eventually you will get into your graduated
Into
area in
in,
detailing.
into the big hall. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
got to
if you're
keep going and going and going, don't you?
Exactly. So you
Yeah,
invest, you have to invest multiple times to make sure that the people then find you, because if they don't know you're there, they are going to find you in the place. Because the first time in 2023, I spent so much time talking to people that actually it was fun. We had fantastic conversations, but we were there to make business, to find leads and stuff like that, And I was
yeah,
mostly speaking to tourists, and that is
yeah.
I spent a lot of time talking to tourists, and that is
Mm,
perfect. I mean, I take the same time for everybody. I'm not going to make a sorry, you have no business with me. I'm going to talk to this guy. No, these people address me. They ask me questions. I will present myself to them and then ask them and then give them the time they want and the information
yeah,
that
yeah,
they want,
yeah,
regardless if it's going to lead to a lead.
yeah. Is so is Labo Cosmetica and Mafra, are they making your own chemicals? Like you've got your own lab, you're putting all the stuff into the vat and you're making it on
Yes.
site, or are you shipping that off somewhere else?
No, we got everything in house. We
Yeah,
have the laboratory literally 50 meters away from the place where I always work. We have two studios. We are finishing the new detailing studio, detailing showroom, education area. It's
yeah.
two-story open hall. It's going to be fantastic. We
Mm,
have the old studio that we're still using, and we have the factory and the manufacturing. The only thing we changed is that we changed logistics into another area. We
right.
uh, have now another logistics center where the products are being picked and being
Yeah,
packed and ordered and shipped. And that has been reduced from, I believe, 6 weeks from getting the order to shipping to 2 weeks. So they have increased 300% or something to ship out the products faster, and that sounds like, oh, that's a good job. No, that's absolutely freaking necessary. If your
yeah, yeah.
clientele rises and if your numbers rise, then you have to supply. The worst word you can say as a manufacturer is I'm out of stock.
Mm,
That is simply undone. If you're making the products yourself, the word out of stock is a no go.
yeah.
It's not good.
They're gonna go somewhere else, right?
Yes, and then you get shortage, and then you have imagining Mafra goes to 65 countries, I believe. Labo Cosmetica
Yeah,
now 35 countries, I believe. Maniac to similar numbers are like that. Some will mix, maybe even a mixture of those, but all of them being produced, developed, and created, and then from the beginning to the start, from the brain of Marco to the laboratory and talking to the chemist for the first time. And then Marco says, I want something like this and compare with this, from this, with this and this and this. And then the chemist goes, okay. And he starts mixing, and then he has something. And from that point, we start moving.
yeah,
It takes a lot of time because, for example, we have one product that we are now almost 2.5 years in. I think from the first version I started, we had version 27, I believe now, and we are still not satisfied. And this is in any case, if we punch out a 2.0 or an upgrade, it really needs to be an upgrade. We cannot say just we have to make an upgrade. We did it with the Primus. It was a huge upgrade. We did it with the HPC. It was even a bigger upgrade, and
yeah,
we need to do this with this product as well. And there is there's one factor is that you can create a product, you can create the greatest product in the world, but if nobody buys it, it's not good a product.
yeah,
In the end, a manufacturer makes products to sell them, and he makes them as good as he can, and he prices them as good as he can. But the end goal is sales. So when you make products, especially when we now upgrade the other products, we have to kill all the flaws from the previous version. Nothing is allowed to have the same mistakes as the previous version. So if
right.
the
Okay, so it's a true upgrade.
yes, so if it's streaking now, but you can fix it with Perfecta, we want to eliminate the streaking at all, at least at
Yeah.
a certain point. Now, I hope I'm not disclosing anything, but we were at 30 minutes in cooking sun and then still be able to remove it with a normal microfiber without using an elbow to push to drag it
Yeah.
off. But we
Yeah.
want to extend to an hour, that we can
Okay.
achieve an hour safety of you have to imagine what I mean is that if you go outside and your car's bone dry and you take this product and you spray it in direct sunlight on a dark colored car and you walk away for 1 hour and you let that cook in for an hour, that it still needs to be removed without using a
Mm.
polishing machine. So you imagine how difficult that is. And that is because the market is now demanding this. Nobody's asking for, give me the best product that's difficult to apply. Everybody wants the best product that's easy to apply. And if
Yeah.
it's
Give me the dummy proof product.
yes, so they don't
I
screw
want it
it
to
up.
perform really well, but I also want it to be, if I'm stupid, I
Yeah.
also want to be able to get it off.
And that is the question of questions. You want
Yeah.
the most simple product to use, the safest product, but to give the best results. So you go into a balance. And
Yeah.
this is the greatest thing about soaps is that any soap doesn't matter how caustic it is, can be used responsible with success and without damaging the surface. Even sodium hydroxide is at a point usable to clean something without damaging the surface. Or the only
Mm,
part is, where is that point? Is that in a dilution of 1 to 1,000? Is that in the dwelling time, or is that in which factor is that going to move?
yeah,
So, and that is the ease of the market is now demanding that these products needs to be fail safe. And at a certain point, we can collaborate with that, but also at a certain point, you have to say, okay, listen, we still need this product to do something. If we want
yeah,
to
yeah.
improve beading and sheathing, then at least we need to improve beading and sheathing. But if we go too
Mm,
far into the safety and we get more sheathing than beading, so you get this balance. In
yeah.
the end, you will make a decision, and you will go with it, and then maybe adapt to the instructions and say, please, for the love of God, do not use this product in direct sunlight. Anywhere else in the shade or anything is fine, but like this is mostly what most chemical manufacturers do, is that they have an end formula, and they find then, okay, this is what it can do, this is what we are going to go for. So we need to say, at least to the people, try it at least in an inconspicuous spot, because we did not test 150,000 car brands, we only
Yeah,
tested 50. So
yeah.
for the 50 we tested, we have success, but now we want to see if the other 100 are also good. So they say, please test in an inconspicuous spot, simply just to protect the customer from not destroying their own car or the surface that they are treating at that moment.
And I think that's a good point because I think the detailing companies, and especially the ones who are really live on, YouTube or making videos or maybe post on their website, etc., they're really good at explaining how the chemical works, the dilutions you should use, when to use it, when not to use it, and sort of the conditions around using the chemical. That's really good, but I think what happens is these products then get into the hands of the consumer, or they get into the hands of the detailing review channel on YouTube. And, we don't really know how well the chemical works. We sort of want to change it around a little bit. And then we then explain that to the internet. And I think times we do quite a poor job of that. And so Omni Garage is definitely part of this, is that we have little experience. We don't know how the chemistry makeup works. And then we sort of share our thoughts that aren't always true, but we try and get it right as best as we can. But what I'm trying to do here is that instead of me buying Labo Cosmetica products, watching a video, then trying it for 3 or 4 times and then posting a review to a decent audience, I'd like to speak to the people who make the product. So, this is why you're here. And so this is a little bit selfish. This is also a little bit of product improvement here, where I would like to get the person who is involved with the brand. So you, Labo Cosmetica, Reggie, come here, talk to me about the product, so that then I have all the information about how to use the product. So then I can then display the honest opinion to the people on the YouTube about how this works. And I think people don't often do that. They tend to buy it, talk about it, give the review, but they haven't actually spent the time on the brand to understand how these products work. And so that's why I've kind of got you here, because I wanted to learn about the products properly from the person who actually uses them all the time and can explain to me the best intentions of how this works. And so, do you think that's a fair statement? Do you kind of see that
I,
popping up every now and again?
if you realize, if you have no idea that how big of an influence you can have
Mm,
if you start looking at the brands in a different way. If you start looking at us, okay, so by definition, I already told you that our goal is to sell you our products.
yeah.
That is our goal. We are going to make a bottle. We are going to put the product in. We're going to try to sell it to you. So for us, it's trying to make the best products possible with no shortcuts, trying to go the distance. But in the end, we need somebody that is going to say to us, hey, this product is great, but, and then you come. I get this strange feeling in my nose when I'm using this product. And this
Mm,
kind of stuff. So if you start reviewing, really, you follow instructions. And if you go instructions by the letter, and then you find a mistake and you post that, is going to force brands like us to change the products, to change the ingredients, to change the instructions. In
yeah.
the end, that effect is much, much bigger than to do. If I understand, of course, if you that you have to create content and you want to dive in the trend, I totally understand. It's marketing 101. You want to
Mm,
jump in when it's hot. We are not going to talk
yeah.
about ancient history if nobody wants to hear to it. You have to also attract viewers. So if you do this in a way that you are exposing manufacturers, or at least telling them, listen, okay, it was great, I did everything that you said, but this is what happened, and then
Mm.
when a company then comes online and starts bashing you, yeah, you did it wrong and stuff like that, and you just prove through a video that is now open online for everybody to see, and if everybody becomes more critical about products, then the manufacturers will be forced to make better stuff.
Yeah.
And this is the only way. If they don't get a tap on the fingers, so last time, I tell you honestly, I got I wouldn't say it's because it's not really my ass getting kicked, but what a very good colleague of mine, I'm going to say also almost a friend, said to me, you have a mistake with one of the labels here in Germany. You have two different languages on the label. One label is that on the label, the description of the product is in English, and how to use is in German.
Mm.
That is not correct. That is not possible. You have to have both. You are selling it in this country, so there's no reason for you. So this is a mistake on our side. So you have
Yeah.
one batch with these labels. So it's easily corrected. But if nobody points it out, and everybody just does and then just goes for it, and then like I said, I understand, but the subjectiveness of the product is very easy to identify. So a good smell is a
Yeah.
good smell. Good slickness is good slickness. Gloss intensifies. You can debate about these for hours. But if you really go into what the product should be doing, so if a quick detailer is not giving slickness, that should be something to be noted. You say, hey, wait a second, this feels completely different than any other quick detailer I've ever used. Why did
Yeah.
they make non-slickness detailer? What is happening? Now, and I am luckily that I am very distrustworthy. I literally don't trust maybe a couple of living human beings on this planet to if I have issues, or if I have problems, or if I have a situation, I call a
Yeah.
couple of friends of mine that I know that are going to come. So if
I
I'm
got
stuck here,
I got friends.
yes, if I am now stuck here in Switzerland, I call one guy, one of my best friend of best friends. He will get into the car. He will be here in 8 hours, even less.
Yeah.
No problems whatsoever. So I am already distrusting. And I'm also looking at a brand, and especially me, even if the lab guy comes to me, if the chemist comes, if Ricardo says to me, listen, I got this, it's supposed to be doing this, can you check that for me? And he says something completely out of this world, unrealistically out of this world. You cannot destroy this with chemicals. Then I become skeptical, and the only thing I want to prove is that if he's right. So even if he gives me the information and I don't understand all the words that he's saying because he speaks chemists, that is a different language, might as well be the AI gibberish, but nobody understands chemists unless they are chemists. If you stand next to them, might as well be Chinese. You have no idea
Yeah.
what they're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
For them, they are speaking, oh, no, they're like they are having a chat and drinking a coffee, and I'm standing there, what are they talking about? So I try to disprove these things, and even if Marco, my boss, says try this, do this, like this, and then try to figure out if it can actually do it, to what
Yeah.
extent. First we go for how to use, so the ideal way. Now you understand that a manufacturer is going to put dilutions on the bottle that are
Yeah.
also going to help with sales. So yes, if you turn the bottle of Primus 2.0 around, you got two dilutions in a pictogram, 1:5 in for the winter and 1:10 for the summer with a snowflake and a summer thing. Is that correct?
Um, this is Primus 2.0.
So like a little pictogram showing two dilutions, or is that
Yeah.
already a
So
public?
winter snowflake, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, one
you
to
got the
five for
summer bit.
winter and 1:10. And this is for in the
Yeah.
foam gun. Now, if you do
Yeah.
a training with me, I am never saying 1:5 in the foam gun, never, because I know how to get to the same result using only 1:10.
Yeah.
And that is what I do. So we do 1:5. We see that it has the ultimate cleaning power possible with this product, but you can dilute it 1:10 and have an amazing result without even diminishing so much, just by adding some little thing like a pre-spray where you pre-dilute it, something like this. You can,
Yeah.
I think I can do three things with 92 milliliters of Primus. I can pre-spray the dirtiest parts, cover the rest with foam 1:10, and then use the 1:10 and throw it in the bucket and use it as a bucket wash. Now, these things I try to figure out. Then we figure out the right way. Then we are going to go, what if this happens? What if this happens? Now, so we see situations. From those situations, we will improve the products again. But we do that by ourselves. So I have maybe a handful of people that I ask for feedback about products, because all I always get, and this is nothing about the persons that I ask, but I always get the information that I either already know or that is most commonly expected from a product.
Right.
If we make a neutral shampoo and the mitt is not sliding and you literally feel grabby, that's the first thing that you are going to say. But if it's the shampoo smells nice, and it washes nice, okay, but we already knew that. Now I need to find what is wrong. If your water, you are over there, you have that water. If you do this, what do you do this? And then we compare these testings. So I'm going to do a test with a guy in Scotland. This is, for example, a very important test because until this day, I have done the proof myself, but we have never made a video about using Fiero as a primer and then actually proving if it can actually prime for a coating or it has any beneficials using this product.
Okay.
And this guy from Scotland calls me up and he said, he asked me some questions in the group, Labo Cosmetica group in UK. And he was asking questions how to test with Fiero, and he said with infrared and like this and like that. And I said, friend, if you do this, you have to keep all the footage because it's not me doing the testing. I am not. If I do the testing, it's always already unfair. I got the shirt on. I got the tattoo of Labo Cosmetica on my arm. I mean, I am the last person you should trust. Anything I say should be for debate and should be tested and checked online if the words that I'm saying are correct, because it's very important. I'm the guy working for the company. You should mistrust me immediately. This guy's trying to sell me the products. Of course, he's going to say the products are good. He works for the company. The company is paying him, for God's sake. So, but if you then double check and you find out that what I'm doing, and that's why it's so great when I'm going to do these trainings all around the world, they see me doing it live. They cannot refute and say, no, he's cheating with the dilution on it. They see everything. So that basically what I say is that trust begins when the words start turning into actions. And then we start building a relation, and then we have the possibility to speak from level to level, so that they never see me as somebody above them. Yes, of course, they will say he works for the company and he has a lot of experience. But in the end, in the beginning, I tend to break the ice so much that we can speak normal, that they can speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they hate it, they will say it. If they will feel comfortable enough there at that moment to say, I'm not convinced. I did a demonstration in Albania for the 2pH system, and I did the demonstration with the brush. And the guy was literally not impressed. He was sitting there and he was like, yeah, okay. So he lifted some dust from a brush. And that's perfect. So I said, but how do you do it? So we start this discussion. And at the end, okay, he admitted that this brush was a lot better, but he says, I was not impressed that there was still dust coming from the seat. I know this. Oh, so that's good feedback. So I tend to love that stuff. Yes, straightforward, uncut, raw, truthful, just with good intent. It's not to insult me or to make me feel bad. It's just literally just to give his
straight
opinion.
shoot it.
Straight shooter, almost like a Dutch guy.
All right, so I've got a bunch of products here around me, and I've even printed off your catalog a little bit.
Okay.
So really quickly, let's do a real quick fire because I've got quite a few products here about how to use the products. And that's it. No chemical makeup. I just want to know how should I be using them. So I've got a plain car that's ceramic coated, and I'm doing a maintenance wash, just a plain everyday maintenance wash.
So you want the shortest version?
Yeah, just really quickly. So if I've got just for my everyday maintenance wash, and I want to use Neve as my pre-foam, I can put this in a foam cannon. I can spray it onto the vehicle. I can let it dwell, and then I can rinse off.
Yes, but
do I then refoam this, or do I use or straight to SEMA?
I'm Dutch guy. People are known to be very cheap. So I never for foam. Yes, absolutely, fantastic. So definitely, but just like I said, just take a spray bottle. First, back to basic. pH neutral product. Cleaning power is 60% less than any alkaline product in the same category.
Yeah.
So the dirt level should be very low. We are not talking about 3 weeks no washing with mud on the car. You can forget that.
That's the come. That's the come.
So 1 to 10 1 to 10 is already a lot, but you could say 1 to 20 in a foam gun. I would say 1 to 20 in a foam gun, but
that's a foam cannon. Yeah.
Foam cannon, yes. 1 to 20 in a foam cannon should go fantastic. If not, and you have hard water, because it works in hard water if you compensate. Yes, you have to add a little bit more chemicals. It's not clear on the label. It says that it would always work also in hard water, but you have to compensate. More hard water, more chemicals. We're talking about a couple of caps, not like double the amount. Take 1 to 10 spray a bottle, spray all the parts that has the most dirt. Leave that to
your lowers and things like that.
It's
Yep.
direct sunlight safe. You let it on cook paint, whatsoever. There's a proof on that video on somewhere on my channel. You can use that if you like as an inspiration.
Yep.
Then we have the 1 to 20 on top of the car, and then dwell until you cannot dwell anymore. And I'm talking about you can wait for 10 minutes. You see the foam dry up. You wait as long as possible. You rinse the car, and then you follow up with Semper, and you take one cap. The neutral
And you're
foam.
just using this in your bucket.
Yeah, and you the minimum dilution I'm suggesting is one cap. So that's one bottle cap per 10 liters of water. And make the cappuccino because it's an Italian product. It does not work if you don't make the cappuccino. So make the water, add the bread, and then blast it and make the foam. That is the cappuccino.
And so why don't you recommend for the contact wash that I re-foam? Is it just because of product saving, or not necessary, or waste of time, or
I would say you have to see this, but most of the time, and most of the time I do this off camera because it's not a good idea to scrub a tissue over a paint that has still some dirt on it that will leave some marks. Most of the time you will see me do a tissue test.
Yeah.
Based on that tissue test, I will decide if I'm going to follow up with either maybe what you guys are now doing, the foam on top of the car again, wash while the foam is on the car. Yeah. It's from an experience perspective, it is one of the most sexiest car wash feelings I've ever felt. If you go in gliding over that foam, it's like you're not touching the car at all.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I understand that. But if you do a good pre-wash and you take a tissue and you test the dirtiest part and you see still some traffic film, that might be a good idea to add some another foam and then bucket wash it off. But only in that case. But if you have a clean tissue or an almost clean tissue, that last little bit you could do with a little bit of Semper.
And what's the scent of this pre-foam?
That is an absolutely good question, but I could not tell you because you will not believe what we spend per year in R&D for perfumes.
Right.
This is unreal. We have colognes. We have in one car wash line, we have the Shampoo Gaultier version. In one of the car wash lines, we bought that perfume from Shampoo Gaultier, and it's one of the Mafra car wash lines has that perfume. So when you drive in the car wash that has this soap and these chemicals, it will smell like a perfume store, smelling like Shampoo Gaultier.
We joke quite a lot about this product on the channel. This, if we were to describe an Italian man in a nice leather, nice suit, shiny shoes, this is exactly what this smells like. This is I agree. This is your 100%. Businessman. Yeah. Do you know what
like a cologne? It's literally like a cologne. Now, this is probably a combination of certain ingredients coming to an end result, like from Shampoo Gaultier, or like Boss from Hugo Boss. It's singular perfume that has been invented. And I see the woman sometimes that comes with the perfume samples, and then they have like 50 pieces of cloth where they put the perfume on and everybody can smell a little bit, and then now I know from some stuff that is coming out, there will be some new scents that have never been smelled before. Let's say it like that. Definitely.
So you don't have an official scent for Semper. You don't know what it's called.
I am definitely going to find that out for you, so I can give you some questions. But I dropped already a couple of questions today at the chemist, and he wrote me a message and he said, "Hey, bro, is it okay if I answer Monday? I'm on.
Calm down.
Yeah, because I have to ask him. You have to imagine, I get the most crazy questions ever, and people. My first reaction is always, but why? Why do you want to do this? Why would you want to do this? This is if I ask it to my son's probably going to say, no, he's not even going to suggest something like that. So I have to overload him with questions, but because also these questions need to be answered, and I'm especially when I'm speaking out of my knowledge, so out of my own learned research knowledge, so not from the words I heard from my chemist, but actually my research online, trying to find out what these words mean, in what context they are put, so I literally understand why this is for, and that I speak the right thing. I might misspeak little information, but in core, I will never give an advice what is going to harm you or is going to be deadly or whatever. I'm really, really focusing on that. So I'm asking the questions to the chemist in the right way, in the right context, because some questions I have to text, because if I stand right in front of him, he will punch me in the face. Sometimes he said, you cannot convince me that somebody is asking you this question. You are inventing these questions to piss me off. No, I got the question right here. This is the proof. This is the right here.
Tell me how I use these ones. We've already sort of spoken.
Here we go. So
this is what you're known for.
Yes, this is the number one. the number one. Primus, as the name said, Primus, number one, first. Primus means first, will always be the number one. Yeah, this is how you are going to attack your problem. The only thing that I'm going to say is that you need to start learning this product. And what I mean by that is nobody, and I'm never seeing these videos, I always see what's on the freaking bottle, and it tires me out. Because if, like you said, yeah, if you really dive into a review of a product and you test it on multiple cars over multiple weeks in multiple seasons, then you get a good idea of what the product can do. But if you just spend a little bit, just one try, smell, and you have done your thing and you throw it away, you don't give it the time it needs to understand the product. So I'm saying that if you use Primus and you have a moderately dirt car and you're using a hand foamer like an IK, do 1 to 50.
Yeah. Okay.
2 caps, I swear to God, 2 caps of this stuff inside a hand foamer, and you will see amazing results on a ceramic coated car. Probably immediately after this operation, you will see that the beading has been returned immediately.
Mm.
If you do a pre-wash with 1 to 50, 1 to 80, anything to 1 to 80 you can use in a sprayer or in a hand foamer. Foam
Right,
gun, I
okay.
always say stick to 1 to 10. 1 to 10, stick to that.
So if I had like a really dirty car, like I had a lot of traffic film and it was
Yep.
just absolutely destroyed, I could do the IK spray, the pre-spray, so I could pre-spray that down at the 1 to 50 dilution. Then I could foam over the top in my foam cannon and let that dwell, let that eat.
Yeah, and then let it dry as long as you let it dwell as long as possible. At a certain point, when there's no foam on the paint anymore, there's no reason for you to wait.
Yeah.
So if
So
it's
then I
literally
can
start
rinse.
painting, yeah. So if there's no foam anymore, but if there's still a nice curtain or a nice blanket still there, the majority of the car, just leave it there as long as possible. Because as long as you don't have to touch the car, it's not going to scratch. At a certain point, of course.
And then if it hasn't removed any of the traffic film, can I do a contact wash at that stage?
Yes, and now comes the double trick. This is the one that I now started telling to the people. Use the tissue to try to determine the level of road film or traffic film. If it's dark, if it becomes dark, there's a lot. Use Primus as your bucket wash. If it's
Use
not,
Primus as my bucket wash. So would I
yes,
re-foam Primus on and then wash,
no,
or can
use
I
it just
just
in the
do
bucket.
just straight bucket?
Yeah, literally, if I have a really dirty car, I take one sprayer bottle, I make 1 to 10, 1 liter. I spray the
Yeah.
front of the bumper, I spray the wheels, I spray the behind the doors and the lower parts and the
Yeah.
back. Then I have 750 milliliters left from that mixture. I put the foam gun on top because that's also 1 to 10 still. I blast the entire car with 1 to 10. I let that dwell as long as possible, and the rest, depending on the size of the car, is going to be about 40 or 400 or 300 milliliters of product. That's 40 ml or 30 ml of Primus. That I throw into the bucket, and then I use that solution to wash off the road film.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I can only say if you switch, okay, you say, okay, but I don't want to make a 1 to 100 dilution of Primus because that's too expensive. 10 liters of water, 1 to 100 means 100 milliliters of product almost.
Yeah.
So
And
then you say,
carry on.
then you say the light traffic film is there. Then you say, okay, I'm not going to use Primus as a bucket wash. I'm going to use Semper as the bucket wash. And you make the 1 to 1000 dilution. And that is the moment after that rinse of the contact wash. That is where you're going to determine what the state of the hydrophobics is. Not after the pre-wash with Primus, not after the contact wash. That's where you're going to determine where is the coating not doing the same as it's doing at its best performing spot. So if the best performing spot is the hood, that is your key point. We are going to look at the hood. Okay, this is the beads going here. Okay, the angle is not the same as the door. The door is standing upright, but at least you have an idea of the beads. Then you follow the rest of the car. You check the roof. Same beads, fantastic. You check the back, same beads, fantastic. You go to the side, you find out there's less speed of beads going down. There is a possibility that there is still something there, but it's not in the alkaline range. It's not in that range. We determined that after the tissue test and the contact wash, there's no more road film. So now we know we have to go into the acidic range. And that's where Purifica comes in. If you see killed beads, you do exactly the same as with Primus. 1 to 10 in a sprayer. Spray 1 liter, make 1 liter. Make 1 liter, spray the parts that are beating the least. Use the rest of the 1 to 10 to cover the car. And then do the same thing and then wash it off or refoam. So the Primus and Purifica approach is exactly the same. The only thing is that when you need Purifica, you are going to use it. You are never going to do 1, 2, 3 like we did. Primus, Purifica, Semper. You are just going to check after Primus if it's necessary to use Purifica.
And so once I've done that sort of pre-spray and then I've foamed over the top and then I've rinsed, where do I do the bucket wash?
So Primus, on the car, rinse it off. Contact wash on the car, rinse it off. Then you do Purifica on the car, but you wash the car while Purifica is on the car.
Right. So I could do my
That,
pre-spray Purifica, I could
yep,
foam it on, and at that
yep.
point, then I'm getting my mid out and I'm washing.
Yeah, I would then say if you're already doing that, you might as well use the rest of the sample bucket to wash the car, because then you can just wash. There comes
With
the thing.
Semper.
Yes,
Can I wash with Purifica if I wanted to?
yeah, you definitely can. From 1 to 100, the most expensive one, to 1 to 400. So you're talking
Okay.
about 25 ml on 10 liters of water.
Is there any benefit with me washing with Purifica as opposed to Semper, or it doesn't really matter?
From a perspective of, if you have extremely diminishing performing contact of a coating, I would say, okay, you could do it, but there's also such a thing as doing it twice a little bit. Instead of doing
Yeah.
a lot once, you're using 1 to 10 foam. Why not do 2 times 1 to 20 foam and just see if there's any difference between the first and second wash? If you see an incline in performance, you're in the right direction. If you see at 1 to 10, there's nothing happening and you're already in the most strongest region. That's why I say to people, if you don't know, start low. Just downgrade the chemicals first. Before the most optimum dilution will be on the bottle. If 1 to 5 is the most optimum dilution on Primus, I'm saying that is actually true. That's the most strong foam that you can make with Primus. 1 to 5, that's still a little bit economic. I'm just saying with a spray bottle in 1 to 10, you can generate more cleaning with less touch and then still have the same results.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's So even if I was to use Semper with Purifica, this isn't going to for the contact wash, this isn't going to have an impact of the Purifica on the surface. It's not going to change how that's working.
This was the original 3pH. First you do Primus pre-wash, then you do Purifica on the car, but the road film would still be there. That's the old version. So you would do Purifica on the car and you would wash it with Semper. So you always finish it with Semper. Now the misconception is that people then say you have to neutralize.
Yeah.
You do not have to neutralize, because these chemicals have been formulated, at least I will say almost the majority of the chemicals have been formulated that normal rinsing, and remember what kind of a pH has water?
Oh, I don't know, 7?
7. So you are already neutralizing the soap by blasting it with pH neutral water. So there is indeed the neutralization, but with real neutralizations comes side effects, reactions, exothermic. It can become hotter. You can get CO2. You can get ammonia. If it's really necessary, the manufacturer will state it. But I can almost guarantee that the majority has been designed so that you just have to rinse properly with water and all the acids will be gone.
Yeah.
Only with very strong caustic chemicals, they still provide it, because the surfactants stay behind longer and then can have an aggressive effect over time. But that's, we rarely, there are not many chemicals out there that need that kind. You are talking about truck cleaners, the really strong, the heavy, extreme heavy duty cleaners. It's aluminum literally disappears in this soap in 10 seconds. This super strong, but they are necessary because there's nothing else out there that can get that stuff clean without touching it.
And I would say that the Purifica and the Primus is actually safe enough in the bucket wash because it's got enough lubricating factors, etc.
Yes.
Is that right? Is that the new update?
Yes, in the 2.0, it's actually an update that has been discussed openly. The original version already had shampoo qualities. They just became a little bit better because we changed the original dilution. And this is where Labo Cosmetica is absolutely the blast to work for. Instead of promoting the 1 to 60 bucket wash decontamination soap, so 166.6667 milliliters of Purifica in one bucket, we said, no, we will change the formula so you can go up to 1 to 400. So instead of giving you the idea of 1 to 60, we are now upgrading the product so that you can use 1 to 400 and still have decent lubrication, more than decent lubrication with the correct wash media. Because if you use 3000 sanding paper, then it's difficult to make something smooth.
If I'm doing like a decon wash, I'm getting ready to polish the vehicle. Can I use Purifica enough? Is that going to be enough as my water spot remover, or do you recommend that I use Energo as well?
Well, if the identity of the car, during the assessment, the water spotting is already so heavy, I'm not even going to go with Purifica. If I have to polish the car, polishing out water spots takes a lot of time, can take an extreme long amount of time, depending on how deep they are. So
Yeah.
anything I can remove chemically that costs less than 1 hour, so a
Yeah.
good wash with Energo can dive easy under 1 hour. That would
Mm-hmm.
get a good preparation. But if I'm preparing a car and I identify that the water spotting is so low, I'm not even going to use a water spot remover. I'm going to polish immediately because I'm going to polish anyway. So those water spots, and if I'm unlucky, there will be a couple of water spots left, but those will take no time at all because they will be spots on a certain spot instead of a completely white surface.
Yeah.
90% is gone through polishing. Then maybe I'd use 10% for the chemicals. It depends on how I see it. I spend a lot of time assessing the situation before I start.
And so, what is your process to use an ergo? How are you using that?
So for the paint surfaces and most plastic surfaces, I go blast full power 1-on-1 to pure if it's necessary. The only parts where I'm really careful is glass. So glass is
Mm-hmm.
mineral based. I'm using extreme caution with these plastic chrome trims that we have around the windows because that is literally one of the worst automotive materials ever made. Chrome,
Yeah.
plastic chrome. It's not even real steel.
Yeah.
And anything mineral based. So we're talking about cast iron brake calipers. We are talking about, let me see, what do we have else in a car with mineral based? Yeah, the chrome parts, stuff like that. You can still use it, but the rules, the most common rules for chemicals, then come into effect. Don't let dry, cool surface, not in direct sunlight. And if you go follow these rules, even with those dilutions on those surfaces like glass, and then you have no issues. But it's the concentration of the product, the time it's on the surface, combined with the temperature, and then the amount of mechanical action.
And are you spraying this on and you're letting it dwell? Are you doing any
Yes,
agitation?
yes. This is very good of you because this will. I'm going to add this to the next video about water spots. I'm going to show you
Okay.
how I do it, and I'm going to go a little bit more extreme. I already have a couple of videos showing the water spot solutions, but to address it exactly. So if you have a cool surface, you're not in direct sunlight, and there's no reason for you to let it dry, and you are literally at the spot looking at it. By adding more product means also you are not letting it dry. It's not like you're
Mm-hmm.
waiting until it dries and wipe it off. No, you can also add more product to not let it dry, increasing
Yeah.
the dwelling time. And the only problem with acids is that an alkaline solution can work immediately, so it has less dwell time necessary to lift the dirt from the surface. With an acid, we might need more time because we need the reaction. We need those minerals to start dissolving. So for that, we might need more time. So with an Energo, I would spend a moment to look at the surface, cool, dry, not a direct sunlight. Okay, if I don't know, I'm starting low. First 1 to 5, I'm going to let it dwell for 2 minutes. If nothing happens, I'm going to send it to 3. If nothing happens at 3, I move to 1 to 3. Then I go to 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So before, especially if it's a ceramic coated car, I do not want to touch it if it's absolutely necessary. I can
Okay.
destroy any chemical coating in the world with a towel, with a normal towel, and my finger. Give me 2 seconds. I will rub it back and forth, and I've destroyed the chemical coating. It's
Yeah.
gone. The beading is gone. You'll see scratches. So if there's a water spot, and Energo can do it, and even in a pure form, a good ceramic coating can take Energo pure, easy. That is definitely also a good measurement. If your coating can take this product, and you know your coating is very chemically resistant, and they are true when they say they are in the pH
Yeah.
scale from 1 to 14.
Yeah.
uh, but the dwelling time and to see it because you can see it happen. So I do a drop, I let it dwell for a minute, I wipe it off. If I see no difference after 3 of these applications, I'm not even going to go chemically anymore. I'm going to add mechanics. And
Okay.
I think the simplest, the softest one I would start with. So probably a
All
plush
right.
towel by a little bit of dapping. That's mechanics
Yeah.
number one. Then a
Yeah.
little bit of
Okay.
rubbing, and then from rubbing we end with the hammer and chisel, and we beat that water spot out. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Don't take me seriously.
So you can, and you're using like a damp microfiber
Yep.
towel,
Yep.
and
And then
that's in like a soapy solution or something. Maybe it's in a bucket of Semper or something.
whatever you like. If you just take a wet
Yeah.
or a damp microfiber towel, it is enough to take it off. If you have to
Yeah.
prepare for something immediately after, like a coating or an application of a sealant or something, just do a light panel prep. Just
Yeah. Okay.
the simplest IPA 1 to 3 can take off any surfactant. So for Energoids, need to know where it's going to go. So if you
Yeah.
use it on windows and you let it go beside the window, and the seal of the window where the window is going up and down is not very nicely, the chemical is going to go down. Maybe
Yeah. Okay.
even doing something on a part where you cannot reach. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's
So you got
it's
to be a
all
bit
in.
careful.
Yeah, you have to, especially when you're
Yeah.
working with pro grade products, you stick to the rules first, and then when you
Yeah.
figure out if you follow the instructions and you're successful, then deviate, go
Mm.
lower in dilution, go higher in
Yeah.
mechanics, go more to the saving money side. Yeah, you have now
Yeah.
confirmed the product is working. Okay, fantastic. The water spots are gone, but can I save some money? Can I save some time? Can
Mm.
I adapt my situation? Do I use a
Yeah.
little bit of hot water, but I would increase the temperature, stuff like that.
So at first instance, you're going to spray it on, let it dwell, let it work, see if that's doing it. If not, then you can go up in dilution, or you can then do a little bit of agitation.
Yeah, depending on how
Yep.
much time you have. I mean, if you have carte blanche and you can just sit down and every hour is being paid, I would say, okay, yeah, then you sit down and do the time. But if it needs to be
Yeah.
fast,
Yeah.
if the chemical try out and you don't have time, you do 1 or 2 tries with the chemical and then you immediately add mechanical action. That is the most common thing. You don't have time. I don't have time to wait this product to work for 5 minutes. I'm going to rub it a little bit to see what happens
Mm. Yeah.
because
Is this can I pair this step up? Can I put spray on my water spot remover? Can I spray on the Energo, let it sit and dwell, and then can I foam over with Purifica and do a contact wash?
I would
Can I
say that
double
those
tap it like that?
two. I would say if you pre-rinse the Energo first, that would
Yeah.
be a thing. But together with each other, I have done it, and it's simply just to see what happens in the
Mm.
category FAFO.
Yeah.
As for me, it's very interesting to see what would happen. But I do always do it on my own car. But
Yeah.
from an instructional perspective, I would say if Energo did what it needed to do, just rinse it off or wipe it off, and then do
Mm.
your Purifica, and then treat it still as a singular Purifica step. I think if you combine these things, that could be a side effect. Although they are close
Right.
related in acidic range. What
Yeah.
mixing chemicals is, I have done it, and I have had the most worst experience. Almost had to pay for my life when I was mixing chemicals.
Right. So don't do that then. I
No,
was
don't
just
get on.
trying to combine the acid water spot cleaning step in one. Do you know what I mean?
I see your point of view. If you want to flip it around, you could say if you're definitely going to go with the lightest version, Purifica would be the lightest version in the wash. A shampoo that can remove some water spotting.
Yeah.
Shampoo, easy, simple, fast. Some foam, a little bit of washing while the foam is on the car. You rinse it off.
Yeah.
You already have a diminishing result. Is
Yeah.
it then something that you would say, okay, if I increase now the dilution of Purifica, will then it exponentially remove even more water spots?
Mm.
Or am I going to accept this result and immediately move to the heavy work with Energo?
Yeah.
And that is
Yeah.
also, if you're still going to polish, I would say then polish first and see what's left over. Or I
Yeah.
would say sit down with the chemical and try to do it and then
Yeah.
remove it chemically. Just
Yeah.
whatever is the situation for time and money
Mm.
or availability of products.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're going to start with Purifica first. You get a car come in through the shop and they've got water spots. You're going to do the Purifica stage first and then assess it. If there's still water spots, go to an
Yeah.
Ergo. If not, then you're probably going to polish them out.
Even if Purifica did nothing on the water spots, I would still have my car clean at a certain point that I can add some more mechanics with Energo. If there's only a
Yeah,
little bit of dust or sand on the car, mechanics are out. They need to be
yeah.
off there first before we start
They've got to be.
rubbing or
It's the
scrubbing.
car's got to be super clean before we start doing
Yes,
some
at least
wiping.
exactly. At least to reduce the chance of creating damage with the mechanical action of
Mm,
Energo.
yeah. All right. Moving on to the iron remover gel.
Oh yeah.
So you're in the decon phase. You've got a car coming in that's going for polished ceramic coating, whatever, and you want to do the iron remover step. How do I pronounce it? Sidero.
Yeah, Sidero. Sidero. Sidero.
Sidero.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would spray this chemical onto the surface. You'd let it do its reaction. It turns purple? Is that right? It's got
Yep.
sodium diglycolate in it.
Yeah.
That's going to turn purple.
Yeah, if the fun needs to start first using this product, first what you do is you take a clear mixing bottle. The Labo, you
Yeah.
can use any clear liquid bottle, but first you make a dilution 1 to 3. That is your
Yeah.
go-to dilution. That is your
Mm-hmm.
every time, single time. That's what your starting point is going to be. You're going to mix it first. You are going to look at the mixture when it's coming out of the bottle and it's going to mix with the water, and you're going to look at that moment when it's happening, when that blending starts. That is going to give you joy. You see, there's something happening in the bottle, something beautiful something turning into a gel with water. It's fantastic.
Right.
After that, then you can use it on wheels, bonnet, glass, trim, chrome, plastic, anything you would like. If
Mm-hmm.
you are going to use it for the paint, I would say I only use it in Sidero when it's absolutely necessary on the paint. So I do a little test spot. If it turns really purple, okay, we're going to go for the entire car or for the
Yeah.
parts where I can feel it.
Yeah.
And then just let it dwell as long as possible. And what is becoming much more more popular, and and at a certain point I'm agreeing with this, because so if you use an iron remover, and you have to visualize this with me. So if
Hmm.
I've got this white card, so I'm on the side of the car. I got this dilution Sidero 1 to 3. I'm starting to spray it on the car. It's a clear liquid. Nothing is happening in the first 20 seconds. Then at some point, I see these purple lines coming out of nothing.
Yeah.
At first, it's a purple dot, and it started to become a purple line. As
Hmm.
long as that purple line is becoming longer and longer and longer, that means that that little speck there is still there, and the Sidero is dissolving it. But if that line stops, or it becomes shorter, or it stops moving down, that little speck is dissolved and gone. But after 20
Right.
minutes and you still have that line, that means that little point of iron is still there. It's smaller. It's
Gotcha.
been so people are starting to use the lubrification of a clay loop in combination with a clay towel, just like Ivan is doing with
This is where I'm.
DIY.
This is where I'm going with this.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you are seeing this purple line still, that means that that source is still there. You cannot
Yeah.
just rinse off. You have to clay. So you see people using clay bar and Sidero, Lubrifica clay bar and Sidero in combination. The only
Gotcha.
downside is the Sidero is eating up the clay bar. So
Okay.
it's a one-time use. The Sidero is eating up the clay bar. You can use it on the entire car perfectly, but it's eating up the Energo. Sorry,
Even
eating up the clay bar.
so, is it going to do that to a synthetic clay mitt as well?
No, it's not doing nothing with the synthetic clay mitt. Only literally with the clay block that is the gummy that you break off a piece, the little
Yeah. Yeah.
putty, the clay, the little putty, the putty
Yeah.
stuff that when you make the little
Yeah.
discs. That one.
So I could use Sedero with a synthetic clay mitt, and there's enough surfactants and lubricating agents in there to combine those two steps.
I can tell you honestly from a guy that's been trying a lot of products that Sidero 1 to 3 can go with the top echelon of wheel cleaners in the world.
Right.
1 to
Okay.
3 is more than powerful enough, strong enough. You have also lime scale removal, chemical
Yeah.
lime scale removal in combination with iron removal, and then you add some lubrification, and then you can use the lubrification from Sidero itself, but I think compared to a normal clay lube, you have more opportunities to generate more lubrification. I'm definitely
Right.
confident by adding any form of extra lubrification. If the chemical is almost done with its working, so if you can
Yeah.
wait like 5-6 minutes, then you are in the end reach of what a chemical can do. Then add some lubrification and finish the entire job by adding a clay mitt, some lubrification, rinse it off, double
Mhm.
check. And if you're a smoker, you can use the cellophane from the cigarettes, scrub the surface, and then if you can feel with your fingers and then feel with cellophane. It's night and
Yeah.
day. With the fingers, it feels smooth, and then you put the cellophane, and you go like, "Oh my god, it's still contaminated."
It's still there. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my god.
Okay. So I can combine those steps because I wasn't sure if the Sedero would eat away at the synthetic clay mitt. You know
No,
those
the good quality
honeycomb
one.
tools.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those ones, the good quality ones, because I got a couple of these. They don't last 10 times. They don't even last. The cheap versions will disintegrate before
Yeah.
10 times, and if you have a good
Right.
one, it will keep going and keep going.
Should be fine. And that's going to be slick enough for the mitt, or do you think I need to add a clay lube as well?
This is a touchy feely thingy. So whatever you feel in this
Okay.
case would be the right choice. If you feel that after Sidero you say I'm not finding this lubrification enough or lubrification not enough,
Yeah.
then you add some lubrification and you do the clay.
Right.
But it's
Sweet.
personal experience. It's not going to diminish anything. It's not going to downgrade anything. It's going to
Mm,
add. Yeah, if you can reduce friction, you have also a chance of creating less collateral damage from the friction itself. I keep
gotcha.
saying mechanical action, but it's actually friction. Friction in the
Friction.
form of the abrasiveness of the wash media in combination with the pressure of the hand.
Right. How are you doing for time? Am I eating too much of your time, or how are you
No, no,
feeling?
I say what to do what you normally do. Say, well, we do so many times this long, this how long. For me, it's okay. I would say we say if we do another 15 minutes, it's perfect by me. And
Okay,
yeah,
another 50. Yep.
yeah, it's
Okay. Glass cleaner.
yes. This is my this is 7 years. We took 7 years to make that. It took
7
seven
years to
years.
make this.
Yeah, from the beginning. It's actually a very strange. It's one of the first questions I asked Marco. He was doing the testing, and I saw all the products, and I said, this is strange. It says you have all these products, but there's no glass cleaner." And then he looks at me and he says, "What does a glass cleaner need to do?" And I said, "Clean glass, streak free." And he says, "Do you know any glass cleaners that can do that?" And I mentioned a couple. And he says, "What did they do?" "Yeah, they clean glass streak free." "So nothing special?" "No, they just clean glass streak free." So before we make a glass cleaner, we will make something that is special enough to be called glass cleaner in Labo Cosmetica. And that's why it took
Yep.
7 years.
This
Not
does something. This does something to the glass. So I noticed that when I spray this on, it's quite foamy. Like there must be some pretty decent surfactants in there. My first wipe is quite grabby, but the second wipe is silky smooth. What's going on there?
so it's how do they call this? They call this this is not it's not a gel, it's not a liquid, it's what they call a hydrogel. It has a certain viscosity that is lower than water. So it's a little bit thicker than water. That's why
And I noticed it doesn't run off; it sticks there. You know.
exactly. It only
Yeah.
runs off if you over apply and you spray at one spot too long. But if you
Yeah.
literally spit it, so there's a little trigger for the Derma Sealant version. There's a little trigger with it, and you can use the blue trigger.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that little trigger makes it fun to me to do. If I have the big blue trigger, I have to nebulize it less to make sure that don't get drips. But you can spray
Right.
you over apply so fast with products like this, and
Mm.
the reason for the hydrogel is the hydrogel will work in freezing cold and it will work in extreme temperatures. So you have
Right.
dual clima. In the
Yeah.
winter or in the summer, it does not matter. You can clean your glass streak free. Anything that dries up is easily wiped off, and you have about in the video on Nitido on the Labo Cosmetica channel, there is I think about a 400% longer drying time than traditional glass cleaning. So if you have a normal liquid, that's also the trick with glass cleaning is that if you wait too long, too much water has evaporated and too
Yeah.
much soap is left behind. So with the glass cleaning, it's in the sweet spot. Are you too soon? Then you have almost no cleaning from the glass cleaner. Are you too late? You are almost distributing the soap and the water is almost evaporated and everything becomes a greasy mess.
Mm.
And then the towel, of course, I tell you honestly, we don't test with the good towels. I test with absolutely crap towels that have been washed 10 times at a laundromat that have everything inside. So the perfect towel to glass clean is a clean towel, a fresh towel. But we designed this product to go with all these different towels that you don't need something specific. The not
Mm.
running is not going to land. So there's more product landing actually on the glass
Yeah.
than landing on the overspray. Now the overspray doesn't create any issues, and you had what was there is it can remove easily the nicotine, but also the glycerine from the vape. And the glycerine from the vape, the nitro or the glycerine or something is something very potent, and it's something that becomes very greasy and sticky on the window
Right.
on
Okay.
the
And
inside.
this is and it's tint safe for the inside.
Yes, because there's no ammonia inside, and the
Yep.
alcohol level is below 5%.
Right. And then what's been left on the surface? Why does it feel really smooth when I do that final wipe?
To be honest, because I did how many cars today would need to do. I had the exact same experience on different cars. First wipe, you are still literally you feel that you're cleaning, you are taking
Mm.
stuff off, and then you flip
Yeah.
that thing, and it starts like you flip something behind. But because there is nothing special inside for after results, so it's purely solely based cleaning, streak free glass in any temperature in
Gotcha.
any condition. And
Yeah.
there's nothing special inside, no protection or no nothing because there's nothing that beats after at least, and nothing that I've used Nitido on has started to beat after.
Mm. Okay. Right. Now I've got a clean car, and now I want to dry the car. So you've got Perfecta. Is it called Perfecta 2.0 and
Yep,
SIO2?
yep.
When do I
Wha-
use them?
Oh, this is one for me. This is I SIO2 products are a little bit touchy for me, and I'm also a little bit touchy about this product.
Yeah.
I've had talked with the chemist about this because I said, listen, man, why are we doing this? Why are we adding this product? He says the behavior of the product is closer to that of an original ceramic coating, so the
Mm.
beading and the sheeting and stuff like that. Whereas
These
the
SiO2
original,
products have come so far, haven't they?
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's I always ask, so listen, man, do they do they really pump in 5 or 10% of this stuff inside? And he says, no, it's not like you just add coffee and then you add 2 scoops of sugar and it becomes
Mm.
something different. No, it's not like
Yeah.
that. With SiO2, the SiO2 family is really big, from high quality SiO2 to the shitty down the street SiO2. And
Yeah.
then where are you binding it to? But because by itself, SiO2 is not sticking to the surface. It needs to bond to another molecule. That molecule is sticking to the surface, helping the molecule SiO2 stick to the surface. So in the
Mm.
end, you have this trifecta of 3 molecules combined to each other, and they add 1 molecule SiO2, giving the car or giving the product ceramic coating properties. But if you have a ceramic coating and it's failing, and you need to do something, and you want to stay closely related to the actual ceramic coating, you could use SiO2. The 2.0
Okay.
for me is simply the first aid. It's first
Right.
aid and everything. So I don't apply this on well-performing cars. I don't apply this on just anything. I use this as the true quick detailer. So you have
Mm.
a drive, there's a bug impact or a bird impact, very fresh. I use the quick detailer. After washing, there is this thing about drying aid. It works perfect for a drying aid, but all your towels need to be pre-treated with a good microfiber wash because Perfecta
Okay.
2.0 is very chemically resistant.
Yeah.
It is also acidic, so it Perfecta 2.0 can go head to head with almost half of the end user water spot removers because it can remove
Mm.
water spots at the same time. It is usable in the extreme heat. That was the biggest upgrade for the original one. The original one, if you over apply, started to haze, and that haze took
Right.
like 3 or 4 towels of wiping before you got it off. And
Mm.
it was over 50 degrees in the sun, and it became unforgiving. So it became literally when you go over 50 degrees
Streaky.
Celsius, yes, then you are doing more of a hand polish than wiping off a quick detailer. It's just like any other quick detail. It works on the glass, trims, chrome, stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
use it mostly when I do the drying car and I don't have the blower. Always around the mirror, there's some water streaks coming in
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
the wash. That's the spots where it's almost drying, and then they use quick detail on a very. It's like a first aid,
Yeah.
a band aid. I got a
Yeah.
situation, small one, I fix it. That's why I use it
Yeah.
for.
And it's just a drying, and so you're probably going to, if your car's ceramic coated already, you're probably going to be using Perfecta 2.0 as just a drying aid, just to help lubricate the drying process, rather
Yeah,
than adding
yes,
any protection on top of the protection on top of the protection on top of the
yes.
protection.
I understand because I have had it's funny because I had a couple of tests where I was applying a quick detailer and especially Perfecta to a well-performing car. And the funny thing is that happens is that the car is then performing almost the same. Then somehow you see the side that you did with the quick detailer starts to die even after you use the Purifica. It's not functioning anymore. Like a diminishing quick detailer. And then after 2 or 3 weeks having that diminishing quick detailer, somehow out of nowhere, after the next wash I did with Purifica, the ceramic coating came back. So I
Right.
literally had to wear off all the molecules from the quick detailer. It took about 4 weeks. Normal washing in between, no more adding quick detailer. But after 4 weeks, after the fourth wash, the beating came back, and I didn't put anything on. So yeah, as a drying aid, if you are also in a tricky situation or in a fast situation, then you can use it. But definitely pre-treat your microfiber with a microfiber wash, highly diluted, soak it in there before because it's not going to absorb anymore if Perfecta's in there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's too chemically resistant for that.
Yeah. What sort of microfiber wash do you use?
Uh, I have. Well, you want an honest answer? Right
Yeah.
now, I'm using Carpro.
Oh yeah.
It's funny
You
because
use yeah, actually I've used that product. It's in the
MPX, or what is it
yeah,
called?
yeah,
MX?
yeah, MPX, yeah. It's in
MPX,
the
yeah.
tall bottle with the green logo.
Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah,
That's the one. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
had to because my friend in the same village as mine has a web shop, and I said I need microfiber wash. You have a good one, and he said
yeah,
use this one. So I got it, and everything's clean and fluffy, so I'm happy.
yeah. And I mean, microfiber wash is kind of one of those ones where no one wants to admit it, but you actually use a lot of microfiber wash. And then when
If
you've
you're
run
smart,
out,
yeah.
and then if you've run out, you just need to quickly grab something, don't you? So yep, I understand that.
Yeah, I mean, it's anything else that I had was not going to be good for the microfibers. And I needed
Yeah.
to get the microfibers clean. And some of the microfibers needed that extra kick because there was some protection in there.
Hmm.
So I had to pre-treat them. I make a dilution 1 to 10. I pre-treat them and then I throw them in the
Yeah.
wash machine and then I do normal washing. And then as I've experienced, there's a friend of mine, Dino, or a colleague from mine, and he is using the 2pH ductile and glyco to wash his microfibers. Now, I'm still a Dutch guy. Although I work for the company, I could probably get the products for free, but I still buy Labo Cosmetica products retail.
Yeah, okay.
I do
Fair
that so
enough.
I feel the pain in the wallet if you buy a
Yeah.
lot. And then I
Yeah.
feel what you have to go through. Because if I give you dilutions based on somebody that does not have to pay for the product, it becomes a very, very different, easy to say, this is why I do 1 to 5, or I do 1 to 3. No, I
Mm.
have to pay for these products. I pay 60 euros for a bottle of Audacia
Yeah,
just to
right.
have it. And I pay it and I keep the invoices as proof. And I
Yeah.
buy them at a friend of mine. I don't even buy them from Labo Cosmetica. So I buy them of a dealer in a country from Labo Cosmetica.
And so very quickly, if I'm going to do the rinseless wash steps with what's it called?
Hydrosave.
Hydrosave, and what's the acidic one?
Preludio.
Preludio, and that's also the same name for the
Yes, Preludio alkaline and Preludio acidic.
I'm going to do that exactly the same like we just discussed with Primus and what's the other one called?
Purifica.
Purifica. It's exactly the same process.
I got something for you. It's not from me. It's from
Yeah.
a guy called the Outdoor Detailer.
Yeah.
And he is a guy I
You
met
have
in the
mentioned
US.
him before actually in your videos.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you go to
Yeah.
his channel and you watch his Preludio video,
Yeah.
you will have all questions asked. Right now, that is the best Preludio video I have found on the internet so far.
Okay.
His
Right.
explanation is spot on. His dilution is spot on. Why he's using that dilution is he will tell you why he's not using the 1 to 5. No, he's diverting. He's going for his own system, and
Mm-hmm.
he proves everything for himself. We spent some time in Philadelphia. Was I in Philadelphia? They came. I was at Audiality, and Mike was there, and Frank was there, and we had an entire day for ourselves, and we spent some time. And Mike said, "Can I use this as bug remover?" I said, "Well, we have a perfect opportunity for you now to try this out because the bug remover he was using was actually designed to be rinsed off, needed kinetic
Mm.
energy in water, was not designed for rinseless. Could still be used successfully. He found a way to use it very successfully, but he wanted to stay in the same region of power, but increase the safety so he can have extended dwelling times, something
Right.
like this. And Mike made a fantastic video about this, and it's really the best. And yeah,
Okay.
also
I'll go check that out.
and it's also the same approach as we do with Primus and Purifica. Only now you keep adding the rinseless as the lubrification. So you
Yeah.
pre-treat with Preludio, add the rinseless, and then do your wash. Or
Yeah.
if it's really dirty, first remove all the stuck dirt after the after the Preludio, and then do your rinseless wash.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the sponge is not
And
the best for hydrosafe. The
yeah.
don't let dry is also very important. Keep it to the
Yeah.
dilution.
What is going on with Hydrosave? Because we've just made a big rinseless video. I think we had 9 rinseless washes. Actually, the big video is going to release at 10 o'clock here. So we use this product, and the sponge just absolutely got covered in dirt. Like the
It's
dirt wasn't being released from the sponge.
no. I heard Dawn is actually pretty good apparently to
Yeah.
get that off, but
Right.
I think the biggest mistake, if it was a mistake that we made with the Rinseless, was that we wanted to make something like we did with Purifica and Primus. We want to make something that was never been done before. We want to do something, and the amount of protection inside,
Right.
I saw the video from John from Forensic Detailing doing
Yeah.
the quick detailer tests with Hydrosafe. It's 1 to
Mm.
50. It's a blast of a quick detailer, but it's actually still a rinseless. And if
Yeah.
you follow the rules, so the funny thing is that the chemist Giacomo, his major is micromolecular technology and polymer technology. That is his specification. So it's basically for him to make a rinseless is for him to make a cup of coffee. So
Yeah.
simple for him it would be. So what they tried to do was, so I have many difficulties with the statements that a rinseless is doing according to the YouTubers and influencers. The
Mm.
emulsification levels they are explaining is not true. They are explaining the emulsification level of a high alkaline soap in the range from 11 above. And
Right.
what they are saying that emulsification is at a level so low with the rinseless because it's already I would say a pretty watery product. No, there is
Mm.
not much inside, and you already over dilute that again with 1 to 200 or 1 to 256. And we were targeting too much to make sure that 1 to 256 or 1, yeah, 200, 250 or 1 to 200 is very close. that it was still doing something,
Yeah.
lifting, emulsifying, making it at least soft enough to be removed off. But like I said, the cleaning of a rinseless is not the chemical itself, it's the media going over the surface. The chemical
Right.
is doing so little because it's a pH neutral product. There's
Yeah.
not much chemically happening, because that's why these dwelling times need to be so long. So what these
Mm.
polymers officially do, so they say encapsulating the dirt, it's true, but encapsulating the dirt is not only, it's the entire, the micelles will link to the oil or the grease, and it will becomes like this spinal, it looks like a hedgehog, all these micelles.
Yeah.
So they have to go somewhere. So the micelles are releasing the dirt, the polymers are trapping the dirt with the micelles, and the micelles are then needing to go somewhere. So where will they go? They go into the places where they can go inside. Can they go
Yeah.
inside of microfiber? Almost not, because you are talking about tiny fibers. What would we
Yeah.
have with the sponges? We have the cells. So if
Yeah.
the dirt, so if you, I'm 100% confident if you do one pass and you dunk, one pass and you dunk, one pass and you dunk, you're probably not going to have this problem. But as soon as
Yeah.
you start moving around like this and
You
you start
clog,
accumulating,
clog, clog, clog. Yeah.
and where does it go? Does it go over the entire sponge? No, it goes over the edge where you are wiping.
Mm.
So if you're wiping
Yeah.
to the right side is going to accumulate the dirt. And if you go down, it's still the right side. And then you go down, it's still the right side. So all the dirt is staying on the right side and going deeper and deeper into the sponge.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then you have a chemical resistant polymer that is also a protective, because a polymer
Yeah.
can be the protectant and the surfactant at the same time. If you have that, trapping that dirt inside and or encapsulating, let's say it like that, encapsulating it, and then it starts to stick into the sponge. So you're
Mm.
removing it with chemicals from the sponge, but the chemical resistancy of these polymers is so high because the protection is so stout that that
Yeah.
sponge is accumulating. And I know for sure, so no wash media is going to stay clean forever. At some point,
No,
every wash media is going to get dirty. Any
it's going to
white,
get
white,
clogged and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
totally.
But
Yeah.
speed that is now happening with after a single use. So I would say if you do less surface with the same sponge and you clean it more often in between, you will get this staining a lot less. But
Yeah.
I've
Okay.
seen some guys, I've seen a couple of videos, and I'm talking about these micro channels. This guy had almost black water from the rinseless wash, and he was still dunking in inside. And he says, you know what? I'm going to keep this for 2 weeks in the garage, and you will see that you can still use it. And I was like, okay, I'm a Dutch guy. I like to save money, but this is even going a little bit over
This
over
is
my head.
extreme. Yeah.
This is extreme. It's like almost reusing toilet water, you know?
All right, I think that's enough for now. How do you think? I think it's a good time to end here because that's
Yeah,
basically all my questions I have.
that's
And we've
perfect.
been on an hour and a half, and I've used up enough of your time. It's late at night for you, so you probably need to go to bed.
I would say we are going to take some rest to start up early in the morning to finish the cars, and then probably
Yeah,
tomorrow night go back home. But
yeah. And I'm
if
gonna
you
have
need
some
me in the
breakfast.
future, yeah, and I would say
Yeah.
if you need me in the future and we accumulate something, and then just give me a call, and
A-
then we'll make it happen again.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got coatings to talk about. We've got polishes on. There's heaps to go, and then you have revisions and revisions and revisions. So there's always going to be plenty to talk about. And absolutely, I feel like if I can accumulate a bunch more questions, then we'll get you back on and we'll have another go at it.
Most welcome. Most welcome. Would be a pleasure.
All right. So I appreciate your time and thank you for making this situation work. You're traveling. You're in Switzerland. You're in an attic. It's hot and sweaty. You've really done. You've done the mahi, which we like to call the hard work to get this done for me. So thank you so much. And the
Most
reason
welcome.
why the reason why you're seeing me is because Glenn's actually flying to China at the moment, and so
Ah,
so I
it's just
said,
around the corner. It's just around the corner
yes,
from New Zealand.
yeah.
That's
So
like nine hours. 9 hours.
something like that. Yeah, it's
I would say
definitely a big,
it's
big,
around the
big
corner.
flight. And so I said, oh, no problem. I'll reach out to Reggie and see if he'll want to come on, and
Of course.
we'll have a chat. So I appreciate that, and
Most
you'll
welcome.
see this go up in the next week or so. So thank you.
Perfect.
So you have a good evening and enjoy your show in Switzerland. And yeah, thanks.
Copy that. Thanks so much, man.
All
Talk to you
right, you
soon.
take care, eh?
Bye bye.